Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Reardon and today we're making some yummy donuts. And what you'll need is some plain or all-purpose flour, salt, sugar, yeast. This is instant dried yeast that I'm using. And all the recipe quantities are on this week's blog post and I'll put a link in the description below. You'll need 2 eggs, milk, vanilla and some butter or margarine. Melt your butter or margarine and then warm your milk. Now it should feel the same temperature as your finger. It shouldn't feel hot and it shouldn't feel cold. It should just feel the same temperature. In the bowl of your mixer with the dough hook attached, add all of your wet ingredients into that bowl and then add all the dry ingredients. Now you do not need to pre-activate your yeast when you're using instant dried yeast. You can just add it in straight into the mixture, which makes it easy. Turn it onto low speed and mix it through and it will form a sticky looking dough. And you want to leave that mixer running for about 5 minutes now so that it can just knead the dough through and really develop the gluten. While it's kneading, turn your oven on to very, very low, so it's barely even on. If you have an oven thermometer, then you can use that here. We want to make it somewhere warm so our donuts can rise nicely, but we only want it to be between 31 and 35 degrees C, or that is 88 to 95 F. And this is where yeast works the fastest, so it'll make the donuts rise the quickest. Just so you know, anything under 4 degrees, the yeast is dormant, nothing's happening. Under 22, the growth is really slow, so it'll take a long time for the donuts to rise. 23 to 30 is okay, and as I said, the fastest growth you'll get is between 31 and 35. Anything above that, and it's starting to slow down, and over 55 degrees, and your yeast is dead, you've killed it, and they're not going to rise at all. Take some of the dough out of the mixer and stretch it out thin enough so you're trying to make a window that you can see the light through. While you're doing that, if it's breaking like this, it's not ready. So put it back into the mixture and knead it for longer. 4 minutes later and we'll try again. And you can see how much more easily that is stretching out now. So you should be able to stretch it thin like this so we can see light through it on a section and it's not breaking. That's perfect, it's ready. Grease a bowl and place the dough in it and cover it with a double layer of plastic wrap and place that somewhere warm to rise. If you live somewhere where it's warm and your room is that temperature, then you don't need to use your oven. But today it is raining and cold outside, so we're using the oven to make it the right temperature. While it's rising, let's make our glaze. Melt your butter and mix in the icing or powdered sugar and cocoa powder. And if you want it to be shiny, then you can also mix in a little bit of corn syrup or glucose syrup. Then you're going to need to add just a little bit at a time of hot water to thin it down. And while it's warm, it should be this thick consistency. It's going to go thicker once it cools, but we'll just warm it up again in the microwave when we need it just before we dip our donuts. For the vanilla glaze, place some icing sugar in a bowl, then add the water and the secret ingredient, the white marshmallows, and place the whole thing into the microwave for 30 seconds to melt those marshmallows. Stir it around, and again, if you want it shiny, add some glucose syrup to it. Just about a teaspoon will be plenty. If you want cinnamon donuts, mix together sugar and cinnamon in a bowl. Now let's check on our dough. That has doubled in size and risen nicely. Punch it down, then sprinkle some flour onto your work surface, tip out the dough and give it a very gentle knead. You do not want to overwork it at this stage. Roll it out to be about as thick as your thumb, and then take a donut cutter and dust it in flour and use it to cut out shapes. If you don't have a donut cutter, you can use 2 circle cutters, or you can just cut out circles and forget about the whole shape altogether in the middle. You don't have to have it. Take the shapes and place them onto a sheet of baking paper. Now I have greased my baking paper with a little oil just to make sure that they don't stick here at all. Put them back into a warm place to rise. Now to cook our donuts, we just need to fry them in some oil, and we want to heat up the oil to 375 F or 190 C. And when you have oil heating on the stovetop, don't walk away and leave it, because it will just keep getting hotter and hotter. And if you overheat oil, it'll first get to smoking point and there'll be like this thick, noxious smoke coming from it. And then it will get to flash point, which is just where it just bursts into flames all on its own. If that ever does happen, do not tip water on it. And to show you what would happen if you did, we've got a fireman at our house today. We'll use just a little cup of water, and it's just plain tap water, nothing else. And then try and put out the fire by tipping the water onto it. I felt that heat from behind the camera, oh my goodness. If that was inside the house, your kitchen would now be on fire. And if you were standing right next to the saucepan, I would hate to think you would have horrific burns. Do not ever pour water on an oil fire, and do not try this at home. To put out an oil fire, what you should do is put an oven glove on and put the lid on to start a bit of oxygen. Then leave the lid on it until it's cooled right down, otherwise it will just ignite again when you open it up. So to cook our donuts, we only want the oil to be 375F or 190C. Check your donuts have risen and place them in the oil. This is fresh oil, obviously we haven't used the one that has been on fire because it has a horrible taste to it. Once one side is cooked, flip them over, and you can see there they're just puffing up and they're light and fluffy. Place them on some baking paper to drain, and while they're still warm, dip them in your cinnamon and sugar, or dip them in your glaze just on the one side. If you want sprinkles, add them on right away before that glaze sets. And I'm adding some grated white chocolate to some of mine as well. You can get creative and add whatever you like. Do the same with your vanilla glaze onto your other donuts. And then serve them up. And you can see they're light and fluffy inside. Now, our fireman today takes 6 months leave without pay each year to go over to Indonesia with his family and help people living in poverty. They're setting up some surf retreats over there to create an ongoing income for the community development projects that they're running there. There's a very high child mortality rate, and people there are living on less than $1 a day. And you can help them out by either holidaying at MERCY Huts or donating, and I'll put a link to their website below, and I'd love it if you could help them out. Subscribe to How to Cook That for more cakes, chocolates and desserts. Click here for last week's recipe video, and here to go to the website to get that donut recipe. Have a great week, and I'll see you all on Friday.